This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
So what's the real price of saying no? Today, we are going to break down a story that went absolutely viral. It all started with a simple request on an airplane, but ended up sparking this massive global debate. And it really makes you ask, right? Where do our personal rights end, and where does that pressure to just be, nice, begin? Okay, just put yourself in this situation for a second. You're on a plane, it's been a long day, you're totally wiped. All you've been thinking about is finally getting into your seat, leaning your head against that cool window, and just switching off for a bit before takeoff. And this is where Jennifer Castro, a young woman from Brazil, enters the story. She's just like any of us. She paid a little extra to get that specific window seat. That was her plan. All she wanted was that simple moment of rest she paid for. So she boards the plane, makes her way down the aisle, finds her row, and yep, there's a child sitting in her seat. Now, this is a situation a lot of us have probably been in, right? And usually it's sorted out with a quick, polite word. But this time, this was not one of those times. Jennifer handles it super calmly. No yelling, no drama. She just states a fact. This is my seat. I'd like to sit here. A totally reasonable request. And it's right here, in this exact moment, that this simple little interaction just completely spirals out of control. See, the problem wasn't really the child. It wasn't even the mother. The real problem was how everybody else on that plane reacted. All of a sudden, her personal space, the seat she paid for, became a public courtroom. And everyone else? They decided they were the judge and jury. First, it was the stuff you can't hear, but you can absolutely feel. You know what I'm talking about, right? The stares from other passengers, the little whispers that start bouncing from one row to the next. The entire vibe on that plane just changed. And then the talking starts. A passenger leans over and says, "Won't you consider he's a child?" And just like that, this isn't about a plane ticket anymore. It's now being framed as some kind of test of her moral character. Then another person chimes in, "Just let him have the seat, what's the big deal?" The pressure is just building and building, turning her personal boundary into some kind of public nuisance. Her right is being put up against a child's want, and suddenly everyone expects her to be the one to give in. And then this is the moment that changes everything. Another passenger does something they have absolutely no right to do. They pull out their phone, they start recording her. No permission, nothing, and they post it online. And the internet, well, it delivered its verdict in a flash. Based on this tiny, context-free video clip, Jennifer was labeled cruel, selfish, heartless. She wasn't a person anymore. She was the villain in a story she never even auditioned for. And all because she said no. And the fallout was just brutal and fast. This wasn't just online comments. This had a real-world impact. Within hours, she was a viral villain. Within days, the hate campaign got even worse. And within a few weeks, the public pressure was so intense, she actually lost her job over it. But, the story doesn't actually end there. After that first tidal wave of pure outrage, something else started to happen. A second, much more thoughtful conversation started to bubble up online. People started asking different kinds of questions. The whole conversation began to shift. It went from, "Oh, she was so selfish," to, "Wait a minute, why does one person always have to sacrifice for everyone else's comfort?" It went from, "She should have just given up the seat," to, "Hang on, is just saying no a crime now?" And here is the absolute wildest twist in this whole thing. That same video that made her a public enemy, it also opened a brand new door. People who saw the bigger picture, who really got what was at stake, they started to rally around her. Her follower count just exploded, and she actually started a whole new career as a social media influencer. But let's be really clear here. This is not some simple happy ending. This new career, this new platform, it was built on the back of a really traumatic event. Her life was completely turned upside down. Her privacy was violated for the world to see, all because of one video taken completely out of context. But Jennifer decided no, this isn't over. For her, this was so much bigger than just a seat on a plane now. It was about fighting for a really important principle. So she decided to make a very bold move. She filed lawsuits, not just against the airline, but also against the passenger who filmed her. And this wasn't about revenge. It was about making a stand, about trying to establish a critical principle for our digital age, that a person's privacy is not public property, and that saying no is a right you have, not some kind of moral failure. You know, there's actually a name for what Jennifer went through. It's often called moral blackmail. It's when people use emotional pressure or shame to try and force you to do something you don't want to do, usually by making it seem like you're a bad person if you refuse. It's basically weaponizing morality. So what do we actually take away from all this? Well, first, and this is a big one, a short video clip almost never tells the whole story. Second, social pressure should never be a reason to just give up your rights. And finally, maybe the most important thing, real compassion, real humanity, it starts when we respect each other's boundaries. And that really brings us to the huge question at the heart of this entire story, one that still divides people. Should she have just given up her seat out of mercy? Maybe? But I think the bigger question, the one we all have to wrestle with, is this. Can mercy even be called mercy if it's forced? Or does it only really count when it's given freely?